Take a look at any SC forum right now and you'll see thread after thread surrounding the controversial changes CIG made to the Ares Ion in 3.16, in an attempt to reduce its effectiveness against smaller vessels, especially light fighters. But have they gone too far, as many say?
Quantum travel initiated.
I'm going to start this with 3 disclaimers. First, I do own an Ares Ion. It was an upgrade from the refferal Gladius. Now, I fully intend to be as empirical as possible with this, and I will do my utmost to remain unbiased. However, unconscious bias is, by its very nature, unconscious, and I'm only human. Take that for what you will. Second is that I'm far from being on par with the likes of Avenger 1, Moist Noodle, Space Cutlet, insert your favourite PvPer here, and I have crap flight sticks, so my time to kill is never going to be optimal. I'm also not going to test in PvP, as PvP is just far too organic, and I don't have anyone to test consistently against. Finally, I don't have any footage from 3.15 of doing bounties in the Ion. As such, it's kind of hard to prove any difference between each patch, so you're kinda gonna have to just take my word on this. That out of the way, onto the testing. I'm going to use high-risk targets for this, as they spawn a mix of slower medium ships, typically Valkyries, and small ships like Gladiuses, so that I can get a good all-around mix. Against stuff like the Hammerhead, there should technically be zero difference, so I'm not going to cover that. The goal here is to see if the effectiveness against light fighters is decreased whilst maintaining a somewhat effective capability against a similar sized vessel. First off is the Ion killing a Vanguard and a Valkyrie back to back. I'm going to start the timer from the moment it's within range and I start taking shots. "50-ish seconds is actually longer than in 3.15, where my time to kill on these ships was around 30 seconds. Now, killing Gladiuses. Gladius? Gladiusi? I don't know. As before, timer starts once in range. If the Gladius flew right at me, it died quickly, which is to be expected really. Otherwise, it survives about as long as the Valk, or twice as long as it did in 3.15. This is a good thing. A light fighter should be able to survive as long as a medium ship against the Ion, and it really did need nerfing for that exact reason. After this, I decided out of curiosity to fit an Avenger Titan with fixed M5As and an M6A to see how a lightish, fighterish ship with fixed energy cannons handles the same situation. And the results are actually worth showing, so here it is against 2 Valks. Yeah, it kills Valks as quickly as the Ion, with half the DPS. I did take the Titan against 1 Gladius, I couldn't find another, and that came out at around the minute mark, so a little bit longer than the Ion. Now granted, some of that is down to my skill, and the fact that I have crap joysticks, so fine adjustment is impossible. However, something I noticed using them back to back, and reinforced in my mind when I wrote that line about fine adjustments, is that the spread of the MXAs and the SF7E looked to be the same, but the aim assist felt much weaker on the latter, so much so that I had to be pixel perfect with every shot. So I did some digging into the game files, and it turns out that my suspicion was correct. Both have a spread of 0.25 degrees, as in fact does every laser cannon, but whilst the MXA have an aim assist of 1 degree, again as do most weapons, the SF7E has none. That then is where the core of the nerf lies. Your shots are no longer nudged towards the target, You have to be pixel perfect. And whilst 1 degree might not sound like much, it really is when you're dealing with distances in kilometers. So, is it all doom and gloom for the Ion? Not really. Whilst I cannot comment on the PvP prowess of the ship, for that you want to ask an experienced PvPer, it's still more than capable of taking out light fighters in PvE if you fly it properly. You just need to be really bloody accurate with your shots, of which you have a lot. And that's where I think CIG sort of nerfed their nerf. In 3.15 I was taking careful aim and timing my shots such that I could guarantee the hit. Now I find myself just holding the trigger down and hoping something lands. That lack of care meant I probably did more DPS than I would have were those shots more meaningful. Now I know I said I wouldn't let my personal bias have a place here, but I'm going to make an exception for this comment. After spending some time with it, I actually feel that bringing the fire rate back down to 38 would nerf the ship more against small craft following the removal of aim assist, as you can't just override said removal with spray and pray tactics as I found myself doing. That would also make it a true sniper. With that in mind, I would implore CIG to try and keep the aim assist changes, whilst putting the fire rate back to 38 and let us test the ship further so we can find that happy balance. CIG, you had the nail lined up perfectly, you just used a sledgehammer to drive it in. And if I'm wrong and the Ion ends up too strong again, a great suggestion I keep seeing is to make it a charged shot. The game's already set up to do this with the Idris, no reason you can't do it here. Oh, and also just on a personal note, the animation now for the gun firing looks stupid and it really irks me. Just wanted to mention that. And with that, let us know your thoughts down below, and we thank you for watching. We'll catch y'all next time.